Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I thought about it, long and hard, pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything. And at the end of the day, you've got to make up your own damn mind. I have conviction. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
All right. Let me do this. There we go. All right, legends. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in. Let me put the music ever so slightly here in the background. Like I said, I will do more frequent live streams, but I will keep them brief, bright, and gone. So a couple of altcoins that I want to go through. As you can see, technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. Also something critical I want to discuss. And then XRP, Litecoin, Link, and BTC dominance that I want to go through in this live stream. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss out on any of the alpha that I'm about to share. And let me just open up my feed over here so I can see the comments coming through. Thanks for sharing, the love, the hearts, the smiley faces. Much appreciated. So legends, okay, I'm going to keep it brief and bright, and I'll be gone today with this little technical update. So first thing I want to tackle is what happened yesterday. So for those of you that did take the trade, yesterday's trade actually played out to perfection. Do you guys remember? Okay, there was two scenarios, guys. We either claim the low or we don't claim the low and we move up, and TP got hit to perfection. Okay, so for those of you that did take this trade, congratulations. I hope you took profits. And now we need to move on to the next trading scenarios. Okay, so this is what happened yesterday. So what I'm kind of looking at today is, let's go here onto the 30-minute time frame. If this is the end, okay, one thing I want to discuss, if this is the end of an impulse, a 5-wave structure here to the upside, it is not time for the corrective structure to be done. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something that I want to point out is from a timing perspective, from the low to the high, okay, you can see that you want the corrective structure to be finished after the 0.382. Unless this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but for me, the scenario remains the same. Whether this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we're still going to make a 5, you could still form a B flat. A, B, C. 5. Okay, if this is a 5, then the time fib needs to move up. The time fib needs to move up because then the corrective structure could still take a little while. But nonetheless, right, if price moves to the upside, I am definitely considering a swing failure from the highs. If price continues to the upwards momentum and it fails to claim the highs and it breaks down, it starts trading below the highs, that is a very interesting shorting opportunity that I will be considering. Whether this is an ABC or whether this is a 4-5, okay, very interesting shorting opportunity that I will be keeping an eye on. Okay, that's something that I wanted to point out. If this is the top in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you want the corrective structure to be done at least after the 14th of August. Right, let's move on. Okay, so now I can take this out the way. So a couple of scenarios that is still in play is, like I've highlighted yesterday, from a larger time frame perspective. Okay, let's go here onto the 1 hour time frame. We could still be ranging for a little while longer. Okay, this could be your A, you're wrapping up the B, you go down for a C, another ABC to the upside, another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure to the downside. So the range could still continue without taking the high. And I'm going to jump into the local time frame in a second, guys. There's a lot I want to get through over here. Okay, and this little structure that is forming over here could just be a 3-wave structure to the upside that's not going to take the high. Whether it takes the high, doesn't take the high, because the B wave can also take the high in a B flat. Okay, and then fall here to the downside to complete your A wave. 3-wave A, 3-wave B, 5-wave C, Y wave is done, and then the aggressive bull market continues here to the upside. Right, the most bullish case scenario is corrective structure is done in a 3-wave structure, and this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to see that corrective structure that finishes after the 14th of August, and then, you know, off to the races we go. Right, now, flat, we have discussed low probability, guys. The flat for me has low probability, but it's something that we need to keep an eye on. So, in essence, what you're looking for is a 5-wave structure to the downside, a 3-wave structure to complete your 2, and then you are going to aggressively fall here to the downside in a 3, 4, 5. Keep an eye on the 1-to-1 extension. So if things get really nasty here to the downside, $111,000, $110,000 is the zone that you need to pay attention to. Okay, on to the next scenario. Guys, I'm going quick here today, right? Okay, so that's basically the impulse that I've discussed on the way up that we need to keep an eye on, and bearish case scenario. And now this is what I want to discuss for today. So for today, let's zoom into the local time frame and let's look at what am I seeing that could be playing out today. So legends, in this local structure, what makes the most sense to me is perhaps a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in an A wave or in a 1. Okay, so let's just focus on the orange line first, A, B, C. Okay, or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to take the high. Right, now the question is, can this now be a mini C wave or a 3rd wave? Okay, so what we're looking at now with this momentum here to the upside, this little structure, it's either going to be a C wave or a 3rd wave. So it can reject here by the, I mean, most common target is the 1-to-1 extension. okay, and these pivots over here, that is the zone that I will be paying attention to for potential short. 1-to-1 extension, okay, with this little pivot is the best technical level to look for short. A little bit further down is the 786, okay, because when you take a fib from the low, okay, trend-based fib, to the high, to the low, you get your targets here to the upside. Okay, if price is going to claim the 1.618, there's a chance for a 5-wave structure. So you're looking for another leg to the upside. Okay, so locally, something that I wanted to discuss, guys, here more locally, is that this could be the formation of your first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you need 5 waves inside of your C wave. From an education perspective, and I thought, you know, myself this morning when I was preparing for the live stream, I really wanted to share this with everyone. When you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulsive structure to the upside, let me put the lines in here so everyone can see. Okay, you know, let me make this nice and big. Let's make this the primary. Okay, you know, hopefully by now, that each leg has to have 5 waves inside of it. Okay, make that the smaller one. Okay, and so it continues, right? So let me do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. Okay, but you guys get the point. Each leg has 5 waves inside of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the problem with C waves, and I have seen this many times, is that often the best C waves that just balance perfectly is that you have a C wave that rampages to the upside, okay, and each structure has 5 waves, 5 waves, 5 waves, okay. But what sometimes happens, and this is where C waves catch people off guard, it only does this one. It creates a mini 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C wave is done and it dumps. And it does that. It doesn't complete a bigger structure to the upside. Because remember, all a C wave needs is 5 waves. It's the best way that I can explain it. And I want to bring it back to the price action that we are currently forming. And you'll see what I'm trying to get at over here. What often happens is people are looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what happens is you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C wave done. It rejects by the 786 and it falls down. So you never know if you are going to get a more wavy C wave where you can clearly see the 5-wave structure, a bigger structure to the upside, or whether you're going to get a tiny one. And this is why it's important, you know, when you're playing along to the upside, to just take profits when you hit these levels to the upside. Okay. Right, so one of the trading scenarios that I did highlight for our Legends Pro community this morning is, well, the best level to have gotten in, which I missed because I was not home. I was dropping, I was doing a school run, is I was waiting for the swing failure from the naked point of control. What a beautiful SFP from the naked point of control. When I got back home, price was over here. Excuse me somewhere, but I'm not a person that FOMO into trade, okay? I missed this SFP, so I wait for next trading scenario, okay? This was the best entry, and for those of you, the Legends Pro community, you know the levels. If you got in over here, congratulations, okay? You start taking profits, especially when you start hitting pivots like this. So maybe there's still a chance for a little bit more upwards momentum. Right, the second way to get into the trade, which means that you need to be a little bit more careful with your position size, is you play the breakout. Like you say, okay, well, this pivot over here together with a 1-to-1 extension makes it juicy. But now there's a problem, okay? Your risk to reward doesn't make sense, okay? 1.38 risk to reward is not really. So the only thing you can do is to tighten up your stop loss to make it at least a 2.02 risk to reward. I do not jump into trades with a risk to reward of less than 2. It's my minimum requirement. Okay. Can price go higher? Of course, and that will obviously increase your risk to reward. Next level 1.236. Very interesting that this naked point of control, just want to point this out, very interesting that these two levels are also very, very common C wave targets. And in the middle, you have a naked point of control that has not been tapped. Look at what happened with this naked point of control. Now that would be great if price can find upwards momentum and reject at the naked point of control. So definitely, I mean, you guys, swing failure from this pivot, naked point of control, and then obviously the 1.618, which has perfect confluence, okay, with the highs. Right, so these are shorting opportunities that I am currently watching. If you want to play the long to the upside, be my guest. If you want to trade on an amazing exchange, remember guys, Bluffin, 10% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account. You get upgraded to VIP 1 or 2 depending on how much you deposit. And like I said guys, Bluffin is, I must say, at the moment, my most favorite exchange. I really love to trade on Bluffin. I've had no technical issues. The stop losses work. You drag the lines, they work. There's just, it's such a beautiful, stable exchange to work on. Okay. And if you'd like to come and join me and qualify for the best sign-up bonuses on these exchanges, links are down in the description. Also your way to support the channel. Right, a lot of people tell me, Dewald, the fees are too expensive, or the fees are too, depending on which exchange you use. Guys, for me, okay, if fees are expensive, it means that you are scalping, okay? If you are scalping and you are not an experienced trader, you should be going onto bigger time frames, 15-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour time frame, because these moves, guys, that I play, okay, when I play along to the upside, okay, or I play a short to the downside, the moves are big enough to cover fees plus way more profits in the bag. But if you're scalping, you're shorting, you're longing, you're shorting, if you're scalping small little ranges like this, then the fees matters, okay? But if you're not an experienced trader, you should not be scalping, because scalping is regarded as an advanced trading strategy. Okay, if you are scalping and still losing money, I highly recommend that you start trading larger time frames. Fees goes out the window. You don't have to worry about fees anymore, because the movements pays the fees plus way more in the bag. But if you're trading 0.02% moves to the up and to the downside, okay, fees are going to bleed out your account and you're going to struggle as a trader. So I know some people are obsessed with fees, and I get it. If you are a successful scalp trader, it makes sense to me. But if you're still struggling, okay, and you can't even play larger moves on larger time frames, you should not be scalping. I know I'm being harsh over here, but you know, it's just something that I want to point out, where some people tell me the fees, and then when I ask them, oh, are you successful in scalping? No. It's like, well, then why don't you jump to larger time frames and play bigger moves? Then the fees doesn't matter. Okay, so guys, for me, fees does not matter. Okay, I remember the other day I opened up a trade. The fees were $600, just $600 just to open up the trade, but I made $11,000 in the trade, because I'm playing bigger moves. So does the fees really matter? Okay. Anyways, that's my little rant, guys. So this is basically what I'm looking for on the price of Bitcoin at the moment. The obvious technical levels is this little pivot for a short and this little pivot for a short. If this little C wave, ABC, okay, is only going to, as per the education that I've explained over here, if it's only going to do this, just be careful, guys. And this is why you need to trade with good risk management, because what it could do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done, and it falls. Okay, so this is why you need to have your risk management in place. Right, that is what I'm basically seeing here on the price of Bitcoin. Okay, let's move on to, as per the thumbnail, guys, you'll see I put a little hat. Okay, where's a hat, a king hat there on XRP. Let's go to XRP. XRP looks very exciting. Okay, so what I'm looking at just to keep it simple, there's some insane bullish case scenarios. There's always bearish case scenarios as well. But you can see if I'm counting the structure from this little pivot over here, 1, 2, 3. Look at where it rejected. Okay, 1.618. We all know the 1.618 is a target for a third wave. Now the question is 4 finished and now we're building the 5th wave to the upside? This is now the question. I am leaning on the bullish case scenario that the 4th wave is in because how low this pivot came to that pivot. So if this is still part of a corrective structure, let's say it forms a larger 3-wave structure here, there's your problem. Is not allowed, okay, your 4th wave is not allowed to go into the territory of 1. And this is why I'm favoring the bullish case scenario in terms of the 4th wave could be finished. It's done. You formed a WXY, done. It did not go into the territory of 1, and now you want to see more upwards momentum. Right, let's go here onto the 4-hour time frame. And for the bulls, this is what you would want to see for continuation is, okay, a double 1-2 to the upside. You have already formed your 1-2 over here, okay? You have formed your 3rd wave, your 4th wave, and now you want to see a 1-2, 1-2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 here to the upside. So you want to see continuation to the upside. Right, legends, please do not take the targets that I have here as confirmed, or these are definitely the targets. I'm just showing the structure here to the upside. It's got no relevance to the targets. Can we hit these targets? $4.6, definitely a possibility. Okay, remember, XRP can be traded on Bluffin, on BTCC and Weeks, links down in the description. Okay, right, so as you can see, I'm trading bigger moves. Okay, so fees doesn't matter, right? So now, what is interesting, guys, about this little impulse here to the upside, okay? 3-wave corrective structure, 1-2, okay? 1-2. This little movement over here, and you guys can see, this is a trade that I highlighted last week already when we broke out. Okay, can't remember this. Not sure if anyone took this trade. Okay, let's just take that out the way. But I must say that this little structure over here looks awfully corrective. It is extremely difficult for me to count an impulsive structure to the downside. Okay, I mean, all the structures to the upside counts beautifully as impulsive structures, but the structures to the downside looks very corrective, which means that there's a high chance that XRP is going to continue momentum to the upside. The most bearish case scenario that I see more locally, okay, is that XRP could still do an A, B, C. This low should not be claimed. As long as XRP still forms a higher low, the structure remains intact. Okay, but there's a chance that the corrective structure is done because it is very similar in time. If you compare this little 1-2 with this little 1-2, you know, it's time. Maybe it's going to find that little momentum here to the upside. So XRP from a bullish perspective looks absolutely amazing. And I am giving the bearish case scenario slightly lower probability. Guys, I mean, if you want to form impulses to the downside, okay, let's put the, guys, I need to get myself a bullish hat and a bearish hat so I can change the hats here so you guys can see. If I had to put on my bearish hat, you want to count this as a 1, you want to count this as a 2, and you want to go down in a 3 and a 4 and a 5. Okay, now this structure to the upside, okay, looks impulsive and not corrective. That's the problem that I'm seeing here. Obviously, what's going to happen here is you are going to go into the territory of 1-2. Okay, big problem. And I mean, you could have a relief rally and then continuation to the downside. So I am keeping an eye on this scenario, especially if price taps this pivot. Then it could be an A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the downside. For now, the scenario carries low probability, but something that I am keeping in mind. Okay, let's move on. Litecoin, next up. Ooh, This is my conservative scenario here on Litecoin. Something interesting I want to point out is if I go onto the log scale, I go onto the daily time frame. Let me see if I deleted those trends. Okay. Did I delete the trends? Just want to see. Guys, so this is what's interesting to me. On the macro time frame, okay, I might have to go into the weekly time frame over here. Okay. This is the scenario that I've been talking about for forever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm now playing this little fifth wave. Maybe not so little, but a fifth wave here to the upside. Okay. What I am looking at the scenario purely without considering Elliott wave theory, what I told the Legends Pro community during the weekend, okay, before Sunday, is that we need to close a weekly candle above the trend. And what happened? We closed a weekly candle above the trend. So purely from a breakout perspective, this is what you want to see. You want to see, let me zoom in here and show everyone what I'm seeing here, okay? You want to see a body of a candle close above the trend, which it did. And now you have almost 2 weekly candles. On Sunday, you will have 2 weekly candles above the trend. So this could continue in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You then have your correction. Maybe it retests the trend line. And then this forms your 1. This forms your 2. And then blast off here to the upside. Okay, or this forms 1, 2, 1, 2. It just goes. It doesn't give you the retest. Okay, and that's often what happens. It just builds 1, 2s and it continues momentum to the upside. Right, so now I want to go back here onto the 4-hour time frame. So from a structural perspective, what I'm seeing here at the moment is Link has broken trend, as you guys can see over here. This could be your 1, 2, okay, and now you have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of your third wave and still needs to complete, of which this is the first wave inside of your third wave. So there's a chance that there's still some steam left, but this is not really a zone where I would typically jump into a long, depending on how you can manage your risk. Okay, that little breakout over there, that was a beautiful breakout if you wanted to get back into the action, yeah, with a Litecoin to the upside. Okay, but I just wanted to show everyone the bullish structure and what I potentially see can play out in the future. Moving on, Link, guys, Link. Oh my greatness. Oh, yes, remember to smash up that like button. Sorry, Legends, I don't have time to go through the comments as at the moment. But what I'm seeing here on Link, okay, and I'm just purely focusing on the local structure over here, very similar to Litecoin and XRP as well. You have your 1, 2, okay. This was the buy zone, guys. There's my entry, okay. I'm still in that swing trade. On Link, I think I took it on BTCC. Here we go, right? BTCC, I'm still in the Link trade. Very happy with the profits here to the upside. So it can be traded on BTCC, can be traded on Bluffin. From a bullish perspective, this is the scenario that I'm currently keeping an eye on. What you want to see after a 1, 2 is a 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Inside of your third wave, you have to form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm still expecting some upwards momentum. Remember, guys, nothing moves up in a straight line. So don't think you're going to enter here and it's just going to continue, okay? There's going to be waves along the way, okay? There's going to be waves, right? And there's potential opportunities to get back in, okay, with those little breakouts, like what happened over here. Those nice little breakouts. But I mean, Link is absolutely just rampaging. It does look like it's starting to consolidate here on the 15-minute time frame. So you need to wait for a trend to form. I mean, here on the 15-minute time frame, guys, look at this. Okay, you need to take advantage of the momentum. Look at that, right? Just simple breakout. However you had your trend over there, okay, breakout, claims the high, goes higher. Now you have to wait, sit on your hands, wait for a trend to form, okay? Maybe it forms a nice little trend and you play the momentum to the upside, okay? This is not typically a zone where I will get into because it doesn't fit my trading style. It doesn't fit my trading strategies. By all means, if you have a trading strategy where you can successfully either play a short or a long here to the upside, okay, I mean, just follow your plan at the end of the day, right? A word of caution. I know we are bullish. I've discussed the bullish case scenarios, XRP, Litecoin, Link that can still explode here to the upside. Like I said, guys, Bitcoin does not need to go for the alts to explode, because yesterday during this dump and last night during this dump, altcoins went ballistic to the upside because dominance drops. Okay, so the word of caution. Okay, let's start with the bullish case scenario first, is that you're starting to lose trend over here. Okay, let me zoom in and show everyone. This is a major trend since the beginning, as you guys can see. Since, what was this, 38%, there's a trend here to the upside, and it looks like it's now at the trend which could offer support. So what you would like to see for the altcoins to absolutely continue their momentum to the upside, you want dominance to lose the trend, retest it as resistance, and continue momentum to the downside. Okay. Here on the 12-hour time frame, just a word of caution, okay, without spoiling the party, is that this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure. What do you get after you form a 5-wave structure? You get a 3-wave corrective structure. It is at support and it's almost at the 0.618 when I take a fib from the low to the high. Okay, so there's a chance that we could see a little bit of a bounce in dominance. It doesn't mean that the altcoins are going to crash, because if Bitcoin gets momentum to the upside and dominance is in the favor of Bitcoin, if Bitcoin rises, it keeps the altcoins intact, and they also slowly rise with Bitcoin. It's when it drops when the party really starts. Okay, so it's not to say it's going to crash the altcoin market. It just means that if we are going to see a correction for dominance here to the upside, you ideally want Bitcoin to also find upwards momentum, or at least consolidate. Okay, right. And I think here on the smaller time frame, what was also interesting to me is, guys, I mean, dominance is an indicator chart, and it really is difficult to do proper technical analysis on any indicator chart. The DXY, the dominance, total 3, you have to really stick to the larger time frames. But what is interesting is that I can count 5 waves here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's 5 waves there. There's 5 waves there. It's a 3-wave corrective structure. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be coming to an end, and you want to see a 3-wave corrective structure and then continuation to the downside. So we just need to pay attention, guys. Okay, and this is why it's so important not to FOMO into trades without a trading strategy, without an invalidation. Okay, right. I think that is basically the update here from my side. Legends, thank you so much for joining this update. Remember, links for the exchanges that I use always down in the description: Bluffin, BTCC, and Weeks. Thank you so much for joining this update. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go through comments today. Still have a lot to get through. Until the next one, cheers for now.